Hello everyone, welcome to, I guess, day 2 of Relocate with Lori Robin. So on Tuesdays, normally I'd be going to work a little later because I'd be working till later in the evening. So I figured now right before lunchtime would be a good time to hop on. So last night I pulled my cards for this week and the question I ended up asking 4, but the question that's relevant for us today here was, what's the energy of the collective this week? And so, last week it was the Scorpion. And we talked about how that really means that you might be at a point where you're feeling like you need to sting. So a lot of frustration and tension could come up. And so this week, what I pulled for the collective is the Zebra. So again, it is another fire sign. But the Zebra, it's one of my favorite cards. But the Zebra really has a different message this week. And it's, for me, feels like it really ties into the theory that I've created that's really behind my work called opportunistic resourcefulness. So it's really about, you can see that there are opportunities to reinvent things, to be creative, to stretch your comfort zone, that there will be a whole new way to experience something. So really what Zebra means for us this week is that zebras are really symbolic of being like well cultured and also fun and energetic. And so you might be thinking, okay, well, nothing about last week, this week, the next like 4,000 days seems like it's going to be fun and energetic, but that's here where the opportunity lies. And for me, pulling this card, it really was some great synchronicity for me because of all the things that I'm creating, like resource-wise, to share out with you in the world in general. Is really about seeing this as an opportunity to have social solidarity, to inspire others, to support others. And in doing so, you're able to have a greater connection with what you're really experiencing during these next few weeks. And so one of the things, it's funny, so 2 of the cards that stuck out the most on the Zebra card, although they were written in, I guess you'd say, like a positive light, is that one, it was saying like protective, and a lot of people are feeling like they have to be very protective of themselves, understandably so. And so that word really jumped out as, how can we honor that need to feel protective, but do it in a communal way? And then the other word that really popped out, it said contagious. Although it was saying that the energy of zebras and zebra personalities are really contagious because they're going to be eclectic and artsy and really have this well-cultured, well-traveled thing about them where they really are able to make you feel like you're somewhere you're not. And that's the part where, especially with having physical distancing in place and being on self-quarantine, how can we go to a different place even though we physically can't? And so what we're going to be doing this week is really trying to bring that about. But yeah, so those 2 words of protection and contagious were really interesting to me, because if we stopped at surface like level of this week's energy and what the collective's feeling, then we would only be able to look at it from a place of like scarcity, or it might even like give us a reason to feel more panic. And so what I wanted to do the next few minutes was go over the first tool of improv that we use for improvising. And just in case you guys don't know what that is, which once this is on YouTube, no one really watching that may know what it is. So a quick recap. Improvising is the process that I have created and used. And so improvising really means that the universe, life, provides experiences for us to experience. So like each moment is something that we experience. And when we improvise our response to that, then that means that we can have an unexpected, like one-of-a-kind interaction in that moment. And so especially if you're someone who, once a moment happens, you're already anticipating the outcome, you're already saying, oh, well, this always happens, that shuts off the energetic flow between you and the universe, because you're saying like, I already know everything. And then you end up being in a lot of ruts or stuck in situations where you don't have the ability to entertain that something else could be the outcome. So that, in a very short condensed sense, is what improvising is. And so the first tool of improv that we use to learn improvising is the most general improv rule, which is yes and. So how can we yes and the zebra energy this week? And what is really, if I'm feeling that here, are a few of the buzzwords that are there that we can really play with. And so one is art. The next one is like that eclectic, sort of funky personality, which really then makes me think of stretching out of your comfort zone. So if we can look at art, being funky or eclectic, and stretching out of our comfort zone, and we're yesing all of those things, then the second rule that really wants to come up right now, I'm feeling my body, is if those things, or if that's true, what else? And so that really makes me think of what the end of the zebra card really says, which is like, pack your bags, you're going to a faraway land. And so right now under social quarantine, well, physical quarantine, and yeah, most of us are not physically traveling at all, let alone a faraway place. So we can really yes and our current situations is, firstly, by never dismissing what we're experiencing. So yes, we are totally experiencing something very extreme and very serious, especially if you have interaction with elderly or immunocompromised individuals. This is very serious. And we can also use this time to feel really nourished, to really connect back in with ourselves, to challenge how we're interacting with this time. So instead of it being almost like a sentence to be stuck at home, how can we incorporate then that art? Oh my gosh, I forgot which, art, eclectic, and funkiness, and really stretching out of our comfort zone as how we do that. So I'm going to probably end here for right now, because the other three cards I picked are really exciting. But those are more so about how I'm showing up for you in these spaces. But so just to like set the tone for the rest of the week, that is really what we're going to be doing, is playing with that zebra energy. So it's going to get weird, it's going to get, I'll say, wild, it's going to get funky, but also remember today, and that's what I'll leave you with, anytime you're feeling any anxieties coming up, tensions, frustrations at what other people may or may not be doing, anytime the woe is me is coming up, yes, this is something I'm experiencing. Corona, by definition, in virology and epidemiology, means it's new and novel. So this has never happened before with this exact strain of virus. So there are a lot of uncertainties. And so grant yourself that permission to experience what you're experiencing, and also give yourself the openness to wonder, what if this ends up being something where I can have a lighter experience than I'm expecting. And by having that balance of yes and, you're acknowledging, especially in the weeks to come, like, yes, I have less food in my house, I have less pay, these very serious things. And I also physically feel the impact of that, and I would like to have some alleviation from that. And just allowing yourself the option of feeling complex things at the same time. So frustration, fear, scarcity, really oppression in the way the systems are impacting you. And also seeing the light and giggles behind your kids' eyes, or being able to go for a walk and seeing that spring is happening outside. It's okay to feel all of those complex things. And the zebra is going to guide us this week on how to be co-creators in that process. So really be funky, think outside the box, so that way, as we're approaching the sense of social solidarity and how to be there for each other and ourselves, we're doing it in a way that's as energized as possible. Because the more positive energy that we're putting out, our bodies are then able to find balance and not just feel so overwhelmed with the intense anxieties and fears that are happening all around us that we by default can't avoid, because our energy is going to be impacted by the energy around us. It's just more about having those protective factors and practices that let in some of that fun and some of that light. So, high recap, this week's card is the zebra, also a fire card, just like the scorpion was, but this one is about finding that funky, eclectic, artistic way of going on adventures. And since everyone is in this situation of being self-quarantined and having physical distancing, but wanting to have that social solidarity, we're going to be applying that this week of really how can we be like funky, eclectic, and have trips to faraway places without leaving our place? How can we really remember what it's like to be for and have this whole world inside of our head that others cannot even convince us isn't there? How can we find some of that play and lightness even for a few minutes a day? So thank you for checking this. If you do, as always, have a razzle dazzle day, and also give yourself permission to put an F on front of it and have a frazzle dazzle day if that's really the space that you're in and how you're experiencing it. That's all okay too. So I will see you guys later. Bye.